Are we rolling? Are we live? This is beautiful. Disco version. I feel like I'm doing Night at the Roxbury here. My head's cocking. Boom, boom, boom.
The name of this song is Ethereal Flight.
Ethereal?
Oh, that just sounds amazing.
That's
Ethereal.
great.
It's like kind of going into like gaming.
You're going to start
again.
raving? You're going to start raving for me? Do the hand thing.
This is Athar with Ethereal Flight
Yay.
on FC3, WFC3.
Coming at you through the midnight hour to bring you wonderful visions.
It's Chris and the Nightbird.
Hello, everybody. I am Chris, and this is my Nightbird, Billy DeTore.
Hello.
Hello. And we're coming at you with another, half hour, 45 minutes, maybe 3 hours of Monkey Business. This is our next podcast. Yay, it's podcast day. Also with me in the studio, as ever, Tanya Metris.
Yay.
Tony Bacchetta.
Hi, guys.
And our visiting guest star, not on the phone, but she's in the studio, Sybil Corbin.
Hi.
Hello. Sibilance. Sybil Rights. Sybil Liberties.
Sybil everything.
Sybil.
Civil Discord. And so, here we are. We're in the studios at WFC3 again. Getting ready. We're getting ever closer to Flower City Comic Con 2017.
Less than 60 days, probably by this time.
I have no idea. It could be even less than 40 days by the time this particular podcast airs. Who knows? Yeah. But we are getting more and more excited and more and more stressed out.
They're so excited. They just can't hide it. They're about to lose control.
And they think they like it. Yeah. And we're going to have some fun.
I know.
So what are we talking about today? Today we're going to talk a little bit about some other stuff. I mean, we've done a lot of talking about the convention, but we also have our fair share of fun talking about other geeky stuff. Tabletop gaming and movies and fan fictions and TV shows and all sorts of things that we've talked about over the past. I don't know how long we've been at this.
Almost
now?
a year.
It's been almost a year since we started recording. Whew. Holy Moses! Nah, maybe
6 months.
6-7 months. I was going to say years.
I'm over.
It was after the last show.
I'm over.
It was after.
I'm
Yeah.
overestimating.
I think
Sorry,
we started
guys.
in
It's like
September.
it was. Remember, it was late summer,
Like that.
Yeah.
late summer, early fall. So we've been at this about 6-7 months now at this point, and we are starting
We're
to.
getting better.
We're getting better.
Yes.
We like to think that we know what we're doing.
Are we
Where's your
putting
rim
these?
shot?
Are we putting these out of order? Or?
I know. No, this is not
said
Fox and this is not Firefly. They will not be broadcast out of order.
What day is this?
I don't know.
Well, for us, it's Sunday. For the actual release, it's Wednesdays because we always release on Wednesdays.
Yes.
So, once
Exactly which Wednesday it is, we're not sure.
It is a Wednesday.
It's going to be a Wednesday for you listening to this.
Sometime between March and May.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
It's going to be in 2017.
Are we sure?
After March.
No, wait. I'm going to answer Tony's question. No.
It's going to be after March 8th, but before May 19th.
There you go.
Yes.
And so here we are. We're in the studios, generously donated by Billy. We love you, Billy.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
And
Super love.
I get a whole bunch of bobbleheads to play with.
I got Mr. T right
You got
for
Mr.
me.
T right now, and the rent is too damn high over there.
Jimmy.
Just out of curiosity,
Jimmy
how do the
something.
football players on the bobbleheads put those little
Tiny little helmets that they
on
have
their
tucked-
big bobbly heads?
Well, it's all
It
perspective.
just sits on top.
It's perspective.
Well, look
Time
at the
Lord
hockey
Science.
one.
Time Lord
Yes.
Science.
Time Lord
Yes.
Science.
That's
Bigger
it.
on the inside than outside.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
The helmet is crafted to hold a football player's ego. So
That's a whole nother podcast generation. Totally different thing than what we're going for.
what do we want to talk about today? Today, I had a couple of ideas. I know we've kind of
Weren't we going to let Tony off the leash today?
I think we're going to let Tony off
We're
the
gonna
leash
let him
today.
talk
We're going
a
to
lot.
let the intern run the conversation.
Oh, no. I'm going to be chasing my tail all day.
Yes.
This is going to
That's
be fun.
okay. We'll rein you in every
We're
so often.
here to rein you in a little bit, but today's main topic. Oh, here we go. I'm going to regret this. I know it.
But that's something that a good portion of our listeners probably have done.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm an
whether
avid
in
one
the,
myself,
the
an avid fan.
past or now or even in the future.
Every one of my friends are a big proponent of this genre of nerddom.
Okay.
And
I
do
was
you
gonna
know
say, you
that
have friends?
I know, right? It's crazy.
Drag
Not the one-
shows?
Drag shows.
Are we back on that?
Nice. Well, Tony didn't want to say, but he is wearing high heels today. I thought he was in honor of this. Oh wait, sorry. I didn't
Well,
mean to-
wasn't he doing that when he was playing footsies with you a while ago?
in the earlier
Oh, yeah.
podcast. Yeah, I was getting healed.
That
I
bring a
won.
whole new meaning to taking him off his leash.
Wow.
He's a little slow on the uptake today.
It's back.
There it is. It's back.
Do you
No,
have any more
this
toys over
topic,
there?
guys.
Today we're going to be talking about video gaming. Yeah. Oh yeah, baby, video gaming. Yeah.
Now is this like original like Game Boy video?
I think we should bring it all in, like
back-
you know,
all of
like
it.
like the big
Atari's
stand.
Pong?
A lot of
There we
Pong.
go,
Seriously.
Pong.
We can start with the big consoles in the arcades back
Yeah,
in the day where you popped a quarter in and
it
played for about
is-
2 seconds because you were that bad at the game.
Those were my favorite.
Yeah.
The earliest video game was earliest video game style was
Mm-hmm.
from like around the 40s, known as
Stop distracting him.
No, if he's going to be on the point today, he's going to have to
he's
learn to
got
deal
it.
with what I
Yes,
deal with on a regular
yes.
basis with you people.
All right, yeah, it was a shooter similar to Asteroids, built by people at MIT on a waveform.
So it was something that evolved into Asteroids then, or
Eventually, it was hard coded and put into arcade games.
okay.
But that was the first real video game style thing out there.
And how long, do you know how long in your research? Do you know how long ago that was?
Mid 50s,
Okay.
maybe earlier.
So basically, we have been power nerds since the beginning of the space program. Mm-hmm. All right. So there's a hand-in-hand kind of a thing. You can probably relate to it.
As technology improves, video games improve.
There you
And
go.
Yes.
Our form of entertainment. It's awesome.
Now, we don't want to just talk about the big old consoles that you pop the quarter in, but we have the consoles at home. You have the original,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Atari, the ColecoVision, the
Atari 2400.
Sega.
Sega.
and now up to and including Xbox and PlayStation and
Now the
even
Nintendo
in
Switch.
PC games and
The Nintendo Switch just dropped in March.
Okay.
don't
And
forget Wii.
let's not even...
and the Wii.
And let's include PC gaming. That's a huge genre now.
Well, that's my thing, really.
Yeah,
honestly.
that's what I started.
When you
playing,
put-
were PC
I
games.
consider myself part of the PC master race.
There you go. when I
Take
play
us to your leader.
when I play a console game, when I play like a PlayStation game, I will.
What
I'm
is this
talentless.
strange
thumbs
controller?
start
My
to
thumbs,
hurt.
yeah, my
There's
thumbs
too many
hurt.
damn buttons.
Give me a keyboard and a mouse. I'm going to kick your
That's
ass.
why I like the Mortal Kombat games. I'm a really
A,
big
B,
button
B,
smasher.
jump,
But no,
A.
I'm a button smasher, and I tend to win, which is the best part. And I'm like, wait, that was a cool move. How did I do that?
Just spam the
No
buttons
idea.
until you get it.
Right here's a Street Fighter one. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Finish him. So and what's our earliest memories, Billy? What's your earliest memory of a video game?
I had the original Pong.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Nice.
just a couple dials you turn, the pedal would go up
The
and
pedal
down,
go up and
you
down,
played
yep.
ping pong.
And you played ping pong on your TV.
And then I had
There it
Atari
is.
2600, which I loved.
Okay.
Oh, I loved it. And like 1982 or 83,
yeah, no, that
whenever
was
those
fun.
were.
When a kid on the street got an Atari, he was the most popular kid on the street.
No,
It was
it
amazing.
didn't work for me, but I liked it.
well,
Yeah,
I
me
was gonna
neither.
say, I
Me
didn't
neither.
have a video game console probably until we got our Sega.
Sega.
But my cousin had the Nintendo NES system,
boy.
and I can remember, and he's 3 years younger than I am, and I can remember going over to their house on weekends and hanging out, where he could go through Mario on one Mario.
Oh wow.
Wow. I still can't do that.
No,
and because
I
he
still
just
don't
got
want to.
so
Impressive.
good
That is
on
impressive.
it that I'm like, I would get past like the first board and I couldn't even jump onto the flag unless it
I
was
think
like
in the
halfway
old
down.
I think in the old days it just becomes muscle memory at that point.
yeah.
Well,
You know,
and-
it's
and
just you know the exact route you're going to take at that point.
Yeah.
and
Everyone
there's an
had their
algorithm in there.
favorite. Everyone had their favorite route. Me, I like to jump over the flag and just go on into infinity.
I saw a video on Facebook a couple of weeks ago about someone finishing the Mario game like under like 8 minutes
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
There was a video of that.
yeah.
Speed runs.
Yeah.
Speed
Speed
runs are
runs
very
Because like you
popular.
go and like
That-
you warp to like board 4 and then
Oh, yeah.
you warp to like board 8 and then
Speed
you're
runs
done.
are a huge part right now.
Yeah.
Many YouTubers, their channel is speedrunning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all they do. Is just speed runs through games.
Yeah.
I just read the biography of the guy who invented Super Mario Brothers. Did you know that when he was a kid, people used to laugh at him when he would kill turtles with a hammer. I once dated a girl who owned a parakeet. Oh my God. That thing never shut up. But the bird was cool.
What is this?
I just found the thing that said Super Mario in the system, so I thought
There
I'd
you
play
go.
it.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, play a little Super Mario joke.
There you go.
There you go.
I like it. I like it
I
a
was
lot.
hoping it'd actually be noises, but I was.
Yeah.
That's all right. No, that was even better.
Tony's definitely way too young to remember this, but of the arcade.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah.
The arcade in Marketplace Mall.
Oh, time out.
Oh.
Yeah, my dad worked there.
Nice.
You were still too young, though, to even remember that. You probably never stepped
I think
foot
that one
across
closed.
I
that.
never stepped foot in there,
It
but
closed a long
my
time ago.
father
It was like
was
96 or
worked there.
something.
I want one of those cool belts with the quarters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
little
Ching,
ching.
ching.
My dad had one of those. He actually used to fix the arcades back there.
Okay.
That's
dust
cool.
off the systems, replace pinball parts. This was way back before he became a dentist.
I'll be your dentist. Anyway.
We're not singing today.
Come on. I just did.
Jason
And
said
I'll be
I
a
could sing.
success.
It was amazing how you're like, it was barn door horses already gone, you know. Oh, there'll be no singing today. They say it after the singing was done. Okay, good job. Nice timing.
Yeah. I'm a little slow on the uptake.
So what are we into these days, guys? What are we into? Sybil, how about you? Do you actually play any? Do you
Right now, I don't because where I live doesn't have a console, and it's sad to say I don't own a computer.
Well,
So, like,
You know what?
I
That
have
might
my
not be a
cell phone
bad
games.
thing.
I have cell phone games.
There's still
That's
video
a big
gaming.
thing right
that's
now.
video gaming. What do you
Yeah.
do on your cell
Yeah,
phone these
casual
days?
gaming is also
She's
a
Candy
huge
Crushing.
genre.
I kind of Candy Crush, not always.
You were playing that one Empire game, the Empire building game, for a while.
Yeah, I was playing Game of War
Uh-huh.
for a very long
Oh.
time. I kind of stopped doing that because it was taking away from life in front of people. Like people actually in front of me. I play a different one now called War
Wait.
and Order. It's a little
Okay.
bit different.
Were you the Legend 27?
I might have been. But no, so right now I just play cell phone games, but growing up I played computer games like Doom.
Yeah.
My
Oh, yeah.
favorite. Love Doom.
Doom is huge.
Hearing all the
Is huge.
doors slide open and all the
Oh, Half-Life was worse at that because I remember Half-Life when Half-Life came out. Why is that so funny?
I love Half-Life. But
It's awesome.
It's wonderful.
But you know
but
what?
it's hysterical.
When I built
hysterical, though.
when I built my first computer after college and Half-Life was just coming out, I plugged the sound into an actual like stereo deck because you know you're cool like that. Yeah,
you're
all
a
right.
geek.
And I was a geek, so I had two speakers in front of me and two speakers behind me. So I'm like, ooh, I just faked surround sound. I'm so happy with myself. And it was a quiet night. My parents were out of the house, and I'm cranking up Half-Life for the first time, and the sounds were all around me. I shut everything down. I'm like, oh my god, this thing is freaking in my head.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like just this audio can make a game good.
And,
Yes.
and that's the
Yeah.
whole thing. I mean, we had Doom, as Billy was saying, that his last video game console was a Sega Genesis.
It was Sega Genesis. That's the one with the original Sonic the Hedgehog, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We still have one that works.
I had
wow.
Sonic.
Wow.
I had a DC.
We still have a Nintendo NES system.
Oh, boy.
that works.
Nice.
That you have to put the cartridges in
And
your
you
shirt
have to
warm
blow
them up. Yes.
blow on them. Make sure there's all the
we
dust
have
out of
that,
there.
one of
Yeah.
those type thing. But that's what we had.
You okay?
No, I'm fine.
That's what we had Doom on, and there was another game that we had on there that we bought at I don't think it was GameStop, but it was in Marketplace Mall down where Dick's
Game craze?
I don't know if it was Game Craze at the time because this was back in 94, 95. We bought a $15 game called War Song, and it was kind of like gaming, fantasy, move your little armies, finish the
Oh, yeah,
scenario,
yeah,
move
yeah.
on. It was like $15, and it was like the best $15 we ever spent
Yeah.
on a video game
Yeah.
because we have gotten countless hours of enjoyment out of that game.
It sounds like very similar to like the sandbox games like Age of Empire and Age of Mythology.
Okay.
Well, this one said, okay, you go from here to this scenario, this to this scenario.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Exact-
Age of Empire, I grew up playing that.
Yeah,
game. That
I
was
grew up playing
awesome.
Age of
Love it.
Was that the
Mythology.
one where you could do all the little keyboard commands to get like the race cars in there?
Yes.
and
Yeah.
shooting the
Tuck,
house?
tuck, tuck.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Or,
I loved
had students doing
spawning
it.
race cars.
My
That's really
favorite
fun.
was Oh Canada. It gave you a bear with a flag of Canada on the
Yes.
back, just waving, and 2 monkeys just chilling by there. It was
Monkey!
hilarious.
So, what are you playing right now?
I've been a PC gamer pretty much all of my life. I do play the occasional console. Like right now, I've been playing. I've been going throwback to the beginning of the 21st century to Final Fantasy X on
Nice.
PlayStation 3.
Fancy.
Because I like the it's not as intense in terms of having to make my thumbs cramp.
Yeah.
I can do turn-based stuff and kind of like maneuver it whatnot. But I am a big PC gamer. I grew up, like I said, with Half-Life and the X-Wing series.
Warcraft.
And I've been playing World of Warcraft since it came out
Chris,
in
out of
2005.
curiosity,
Yes.
do you have a Steam?
I don't. I don't have a
Oh,
Steam
really?
account. I've been meaning to set that up, but I'm usually too busy doing like 1,000
enough.
other things.
Yeah, my oldest has a Steam account, and can I tell you how much Steam gift cards that he goes through on?
Oh yeah, it's
birthday, Christmas.
It's a money
whatever.
time sink. It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
It is. But,
Yeah.
like games are like $16.99.
Oh yeah,
$20.99. I'd like.
especially if there's like a huge new release coming out, like it's not on Steam, it's on Origin. Mass Effect Andromeda. By the time this came out, Mass Effect Andromeda will have been out for a couple months. But I just pre-ordered it, and I'm super excited for it because I love the Mass Effect series.
Okay. You know what? I've seen a lot about it. I've seen the artwork for it. I've seen people.
It's beautiful.
I've seen the articles where people talk about how awesome it is. I've never played Mass Effect.
It's fair.
Now, is that PC? 'Cause there's a console.
It's PC, console.
Okay.
It's across the board. It's a story. It's an RPG story-driven game.
Okay. Which I
there's-
tend to like.
I love those.
Yeah.
It's got.
Story-driven games are the
It
best.
has. It's can be a third-person shooter. It can be a complete RPG, depending on how you play. I tend to go more of a story-driven route because I love the story and becoming attached to the characters. As a matter of fact, there
Me
was
too. Absolutely.
Until they
most
die.
people hate the third game because the ending was terrible, but there were parts in the third game that made me cry, and
That's
are
a good
very
story.
Yeah.
very few things out there story-wise that will make me cry.
The very first computer that I ever owned, my parents, it was my freshman, sophomore year of high school, bought me an Apple IIc. Okay, which was Apple's first attempt at a portable computer because you had to plug it into everything, but it was so easy to unplug it from everything, and it had a handle on the back, so you could cart it around from place to place. I never really made use of the portability factor, but one of the games the first games, and I remember having the 5 1/4 floppy disks,
Yep.
stack of them, like
Oh,
this,
yes.
like an inch thick stack of them, but it was Bard's Tale.
Oh,
And it was like the preeminent RPG game of
We
the
had
era.
it for the Nintendo.
Oh my god,
Chris,
I had so much fun with
did
that.
you know there's currently a Bard's Tale on Steam?
No.
They recently remade it. It's episodic in nature. It's awesome.
Tanya,
I'm looking.
I need a Steam account.
You can go and sign one up.
I can get a Steam account?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
I'm
Tanya
not
said I
paying-
can have a Steam account.
Yes.
Yay!
And the Bard's Tale is $9.99 on Steam.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
One of my favorite, actually, story-based games
I'm not
is the
buying your
Uncharted
account, though.
series.
Oh yeah.
I love the Uncharted
Yeah.
series.
I've
It is like
not heard of that one.
It's he is a kid who grew up and he's a thief.
His name's Tim Drake.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's
Isn't
all
that
it's
isn't that a former Robin?
Yeah, it's a Robin.
That's a Robin.
yeah, and it's all like almost Indiana Jones
Yeah.
like.
Uncharted.
Cool.
Naughty Dogs did a
and
really good job of it.
It's so
Okay.
many like
Nathan
areas where
Drake.
you have to solve puzzles in order to get to the next step.
Is that the
Which
character's name is
just
Nathan
so
Drake?
fun.
Nathan Drake.
Not Tim Drake.
Nathan
My
Drake.
bad. Getting my Drakes mixed up.
That's
Fired.
okay.
Which is just it's so
We'll
much fun.
rehire you in like
Give me
the
about
next,
5 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd actually play with my nephew, and he would do all the running and the fighting, and then he would get to a puzzle portion and hand the controller to me.
Okay.
So that I could solve the puzzle. I would solve the puzzle, and then I'd give it back to him.
And then he'd rock and roll.
then he'd, do more. And then
So
he'd
together
hand
you
it
were the
back-
ultimate player.
Yes.
Sybil, I think you would really love the game Portal.
Yes, I love Portal.
Portal is wonderful.
amazing.
Is that the one
Yeah.
that's got the gun that you
Yeah.
can jump
Yeah,
through?
Yes.
It's and especially the second one. The humor is wonderful. It's
It
like
is.
that dry British humor.
Okay.
It's wonderful.
Portal is amazing.
Yeah.
I would enjoy it.
Well, right now, I've basically been, for me, it's if I'm going to play a game on my PC, it's going to be an MMO.
Okay.
I started at when City of Heroes was a big thing. You can create your own superhero and live the comic book existence, and it was so much fun. And you'd
That's one
build
for
your,
Billy.
Yeah, you'd build your character up. Now that game has since shut down
Yeah.
at this point.
I heard that was fairly recently, right?
It was within the past 4 or 5 years that they
Yeah.
finally shut it down once and for all, and I was sad to see it. I had not played it in a long time.
I mean, it made sense. Didn't
yeah.
they face a few lawsuits because people were
Well, they were
they
were very conscious of that. They made sure that the people, like if I created, for instance, I created a character that was trying to be off the book of anything, so that was great. But this guy who was in a guild with me, he called himself New Superman. He had the red and the blue, and he had the cape and everything, and he flew around, and he was super strength tank and everything like that. And so, City Heroes, the folks who ran it came through, and like once a month they would go through and they would find names and characters, and they would investigate. And then they told the guy,
Too close.
"We're sorry, you're too close to an actual comic book character. We're going to give you a free opportunity to change your name because you would have to spend money to request name changes and whatnot, and we're going to ask you to change your costume." And we'll help you with that. We'll do a random shuffle, but you are too close to a legit, honest character. We have to get you to change. So they were good about that sort of thing, and I don't think they really had, because most of the comic book houses were like, yeah, just keep an eye on it. Just keep an eye on it, and we won't mess with you. And so they were pretty good about that. I think what it was is just 3 years into City of Heroes, World of Warcraft hits the scene.
Oh yeah,
And that's just been a monster for 12 straight years.
yeah.
They
That's
lost,
huge.
and then halfway through World of Warcraft comes Star Wars: The Old Republic.
which was a wonderful single-player game.
Yeah.
back in the day, and then
Knights of the Old
made
Republic.
a very nice transition into an
Yes.
MMO.
Yeah, it did, and I played Old Republic on it.
I loved I loved the original KOTOR.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Go for it.
Yeah.
What does MMO stand for?
Massively multiplayer online.
Think of it this way: most video games that you used to are just you and the computer and the game. And you don't have a lot of, like, you and Tanya and I might be playing the same game, but we're doing it on different consoles, different computers. We're playing we can't help each other.
Or you might be very limitedly. You're sharing like 3 controllers on a single thing, and you have a split screen.
An MMO gives you an opportunity to play with millions of people who are subscribing to the game at the same time.
Okay.
You create large teams.
I think I knew that existed. I just didn't know it had a name.
Like right now, I've been playing World of Warcraft since it first started, and with a year break here, a couple of month break over here, et cetera, et cetera. But I still have a core team that I've been playing with all along that we've become real life friends with, and there's a group of about 13 to 14 people that I can play with at any given moment in time. I have my guild, I have my team, and then you can bring other people in from other folk.
I would pull my heavies in for Diablo if I was playing online.
there you go.
Oh, yes,
And my
Diablo.
character would get killed by, I would have like a 10th or 11th level character.
And you share the experience.
And it would come in, somebody would come in and kill me that's like 90th level, so I would definitely call Sean and Drew in.
And they would help you.
And they actually had characters that were set at 99th level that would come in and then just...
And that's part of the fun. Like in Old Republic, I was playing a Jedi because everybody, for the most part, would. But then you could come in, on the Republic side, you could play with other scoundrels and soldiers and commandos, and there was like a whole ton of different character possibilities, and everybody would kind of decorate their character in a different way, and their play style is slightly different. So you have a team that you can build up and address the bigger challenges with. So that's an MMO.
Another big MMO right now is the Elder Scrolls Online MMO.
Yep.
Yeah.
It keys into the Elder Scrolls universe by Bethesda, and it's
That's part of that is Skyrim, right?
Skyrim,
Okay.
Oblivion, Morrowind. If you're an older gamer, Daggerfall and Arena.
And that's a very sword and sorcery type of scenery.
It's one of the
Excuse me.
though it harkens back to like the classic new style of RPGs.
Okay.
As opposed to when you would just type in commands to go places for an RPG.
Right.
It actually puts you in the saddle and lets you walk around.
And that's another thing, Billy, that these games give you these huge worlds that you can just go off and you don't have to channel yourself from point A to point B to point point C. They don't lead you through.
You can
They-
just wander around.
They
Yeah.
can just wander around.
And you
They
can-
give you quests. There's operations and dungeons and things that you can do with teams. But there are times where you can just take your character and just go explore and see the world and just
That's
go somewhere.
half of the fun.
Yep.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
why you're able to sink 300 plus hours into
Oh,
Skyrim.
yeah. Oh yeah. There's a command on World of Warcraft. It's /played, and what it does is it tells you the exact amount of time you've clocked in on that particular character. Now I've played dozens of characters on World of Warcraft, but I've had my original guy since the day one. I've been playing him the most. He's my quote unquote main character, and I did a /played the other day and saw a number that made me really really sad.
I could have been walking around my own world.
Yeah, it was 426 days worth of playtime that over the past 12 years that I've spent on that particular character.
That's
Yeah,
not too awful,
my-
to be honest with you.
No, I got a couple of guildmates who I've come up through the ranks with that they're in years at this point where their playtime is like on a particular character
My,
like 3-4 years.
My brother's character on the Lord of the Rings MMO is somewhere around there as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And MMO has been the thing. Now I don't know if the industry is fading or still stable, but there's an MMO for so many different settings now.
It's stabilizing. The problem is as new MMOs come out, some old MMO probably has to die.
Yeah,
And
nobody can kill WoW. Nobody's
No
been
one-
able
no-
to kill
no.
World of
There
Warcraft.
have been shots taken at WoW, but no one has been able to take Blizzard's giant down.
Old Republic came close for a little bit, but
Yeah.
the thing about the difference, I mean, I played Old Republic, I loved it, but I don't have an account anymore. I actually canceled my account a month ago. The most recent expansion was awesome because it really gave you an opportunity to feel like you were living inside a Star Wars movie. BioWare is awesome about story-driven stuff, and they give you an opportunity to, like, when you're in your character's in conversation, you can kind of direct the conversation a little bit.
Yeah. Do you want to take the Paragon path or the Renegade path?
Do you want to say this to this person, say to this person, this to the, they give you, you can control how the conversation kind of unfolds.
Oh, yeah.
And so you really feel like you're in that movie experience. But when it's done and the story is done, then you're back to grinding and doing instances over and over again and doing the same old thing over and over and over again. And I was like, okay, that's boring now. Get back to me when you get another expansion. I'll be back. But
For a more interesting experience, I would recommend the indie game scene.
okay, such as give me some titles to play with.
The Stanley Parable.
Okay.
It gives you there's 6 or 7 endings, and it's that same dry British humor as Portal.
Okay.
That's pretty good. If you want a more artistic piece, go for the Beginner's Guide. Same group. It's a look at the struggles of a game programmer and the creative process that they have to go through, and virtually them destroying themselves in order to create something awesome.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
If you want something more like Mario, go for Super Meat Boy.
Super Meat Boy?
Super Meat Boy.
Okay. No.
Yeah, that just sounds weird.
No, what's big in consoles these days? I mean, it's still titles like Final Fantasy. Halo is a big one.
Halo's a big
Halo's
one.
pretty big.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
These are big things on consoles.
Tom
Everybody gets to
Clancy's
play-
Tom Clancy.
coming
Tom
back.
Clancy.
All
Yeah.
right, everybody gets to play Soldier on their Xboxes and
That's
PlayStations.
what Tyler just got recently is the most recent Tom Clancy Ghost Recon.
Yeah.
Okay, my son has been big into
Wildlands.
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's
Oh, yeah.
Creed. is
Assassin's Creed's huge. Yeah.
We've taken all the Assassin's Creeds off the Xbox One right now because it just takes up so much space.
It does.
Everybody's very angry at Konami for screwing with Metal Gear Solid.
Now, what do you mean by that?
Hiro Kojima, the creator of the Metal Gear Solid series, had a falling out with Konami.
Okay.
He's now working on a project with, I want to say, Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, okay. There's somebody who has a twisted imagination.
Yes, he does.
They're working on a horror game. And
Now-
people were very upset about because Konami was going to release a Silent Hill game with Guillermo del Toro. I think it was Konami. I might be getting my details mixed up because I was reading about this maybe 3 months ago. And now Hiro Kojima is now working with Guillermo del Toro, and the two of them are making a horror game.
I can imagine that's if you build it, they will come. There will be people flocking to that just for those two names alone.
I think that's the details, but I might be getting two stories mixed up.
That's something to look into, though. At least,
but
that's definitely something. Now, go ahead,
I'm just
Tanya.
looking at MMORPG list, and can I tell you how overwhelmed I am?
Oh yeah,
it's huge.
You have to break them down into genres.
That's why there's so many different genres.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
You have to break it down into what genre you want. Do you want to play a fantasy game? Do you want to play a space game? Do you want to play a Western one?
Yeah.
You have to break them down into genres to get into what you want.
Holy cow.
There's so many ways to break down video games. First-person shooters, RPGs, MMORPGs.
Yeah.
FPS, MMO, RPGs.
There's too many
WTF, BBQ.
That's too many darn acronyms.
Now, it just occurred to me, you asked me what the last video game system I had, and I'm wrong. When my friend and coworker Paulie upgraded to his Xbox One, this was a couple years ago, he gave me his Xbox 360.
Okay, so you have a
So
360.
I have it at home.
Have you ever used it?
No, I've got a bunch of games, but they're mostly sports games. And I have the feeling, since none of you have mentioned sports games,
and that's a big genre
Here's
too.
The thing.
Yeah.
Sports games are just as much a video game as any other video game.
I was just wondering if any of you played them.
The mainstream video game nerds try to distance themselves from the sports nerds who play Madden.
Yeah, that is true.
Yes.
But as a whole, the two are two sides of the same coin.
Yes.
See, I look at even the controllers, and I'm
There's
like,
too many
there's
darn
too many
buttons.
buttons,
Thank
too many
you.
combinations of needing to know what to do.
Thank you,
What
Billy.
happened to the A and B button and the joystick and a little button in the corner? And
See,
I will get you a Wii.
yeah.
It's got your A and a B.
Yay.
That's an A, B, and a
Yes.
directional, and then you just move your hands.
No, we also have the board that you have to get
This-
on.
well, if you
Okay,
have
yeah.
and then
the
you have the
surfboard.
things that you can put the controllers in, like your
The
steering
nunchucks,
wheel,
but
the
the-
nunchucks,
but
the
I-
tennis
that
rackets.
is fairly simplistic. It's
That is
very
true.
intuitive.
It is.
and it's
Nintendo has done a very nice job of making all of their consoles very
Family
intuitive.
friendly.
Yes, very,
look at
very
that.
friendly.
I look
Billy
at that
friendly.
Xbox every once in a while and go, geez, I'd love a wrestling game. I want the Batman game. I want to be Batman.
Now,
I'm
we-
too dumb to be Batman. I'll go back to watching Batman.
I have had a PlayStation 3 for about 3 or 4 years. And for the longest time, I had absolutely no PlayStation games. It was how I accessed Netflix and Hulu. I did it through my PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got my Blu-ray player. Okay, so then the PlayStation wasn't my Blu-ray player anymore. It was just my Netflix and Hulu hub. And then I bought my 4K TV. And
now
the
it's-
PlayStation was just sitting there, and I felt bad, so I went out at Christmas time and bought a bunch of games on clearance just so I felt like the PlayStation had something to do.
This means next time I come to visit, I'm going to bring my copy of Skyrim so I can sit there and play while
There
you
you
guys
go.
are sleeping.
That's
There you
that's
go.
fine.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There you go.
Because I still have video games.
I may have a
just
copy
don't
of my
have
own
a
by then.
console to play
There
on.
you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, we should talk. I
Actually-
got a couple I could probably send back with you.
Actually,
the
Chris,
Sega,
if you
the
get the
Nintendo,
chance,
the Wii?
definitely play Skyrim. It's
Love the game.
I have a
Hunter-
feeling in
Hunter.
like 10 years or so, people will be talking about Skyrim like they talk about Mario.
Okay. It's going to be that kind of genre-defining
Yeah.
kind of thing. Now, in your impression, because you're a little bit more in the know than I am.
Oh yeah.
Is there a huge difference?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am. Love his confidence. Is there a huge difference between Xbox and PlayStation, and who's got the better gig right now?
That is a super divisive question.
That is.
I
That
had a
really,
good
really is.
So who's better, Democrats or Republicans? Go.
There you go.
It's
I know it's kind of like Coke and
Here,
Pepsi. They do the same thing, but they do it differently.
I think it's
I haven't.
probably
I've seen a picture that
personal
yeah, go.
preference.
It is
It's
personal
preference.
preference.
Christians or Jews? Go.
Well, because I want to
Buddhist.
say we have a PlayStation 2 in our house because we got it for Gauntlet, Dark Legacy, and then Guitar Hero and that type of stuff. Because when I first got the PlayStation 2, I was working in High, and that's what the kids were playing at the time. So that was back in early 2000s type thing. But then we have hopped over to the Xbox One family and the Xbox 360 family. But then my kid's like, I want a PlayStation 4. I wanted
Actually, I'll
this. I'm
mention
like,
it right now.
no, we're not going to add more consoles into the house that have to do with
I saw a very descriptive picture describing the relationship between Steam and PC gaming with the consoles. Steam, it's a guy. There's a guy with the Steam face taking a picture, and in the background there's two ladies with an Xbox and a PlayStation face, respectively, catfighting. That in my opinion is the most accurate depiction of how how people view video games, or not view video games, how console hardliners view each other.
Okay, so if I'm a diehard PlayStation fan, I don't like Xbox fans, and Xbox fans don't like PlayStation
Those are your
fans.
hardliners.
Those are your hardliners. And then there's those of us playing PC games going, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You guys
And there's also the people that own both consoles because they want to be able to have all the games
Access to everything.
Right.
Because
certain
a lot
games
of
are
people
only made
aren't
for one of the consoles.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't hardliners. There are people with brand loyalty, and I respect that. But a lot of the times, in order to get all the games you want to play, you might want to have both consoles.
Yeah.
And sometimes the play experience might be slightly different on a PlayStation as opposed to an Xbox.
But then if you have an Xbox, then you can't play a game with one of your friends that has a PS4.
That's a good point.
Because that's the thing. That's what's come between my 18-year-old and then my nephew, that they have the same video game, like whatever.
But they're different.
But they have
they're different
different
platforms.
Consoles,
They
so
have
they
two different
can't
consoles.
co-op. Yeah.
So that's the one downfall with that. But I personally can't see spending additional buku bucks to get just a console so he could play with somebody, just a family member.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to put you on the spot again. Go ahead. So it's somebody. Oh, no. Okay. Tony, I'm going to put you on the spot again.
Go for it.
It's the voices in his head.
It's the voices in my head. They're all talking to me today. All left, right, and center.
Go for
all
it.
right. I have a PlayStation 3.
Yes.
And eventually that's going to fall by the wayside, and I'm going to want to replace it with a console so that I have a console in the house. In your opinion, who, you know where it's going, who's better? Who would be better for an all-around family kind of thing?
Family-oriented, I would go for a Nintendo system.
Well, I'm not just talking about like all the cute little cutesy games, the family pack games. I'm talking about,
Nintendo does have the
They
Switch.
Oh, they do have the okay,
Yeah.
and the Switch just came out.
The Switch just came out, and it has this huge developer lineup that's really impressive. Like Skyrim's on there.
Okay.
It's also got a huge indie group behind it, like Shovel Knight's on there.
Okay. And then I'd be able to use the Nintendo for more than just gaming too.
Right.
There's portals to other things.
You can Netflix on there. You can
Pretty much all consoles these days
Have all of that
have
stuff.
the portals because of that reason.
Oh, okay.
The thing about the Switch though is it's a fusion between like your regular console and your handheld. Which is very interesting, but at least in my opinion, it makes it more susceptible to getting lost.
Yes.
No.
I also like the fact that Nintendo actually announced that they made the cartridges for the Switch taste bad.
Oh, right. And then of course, what happened? People went out and started licking them just to
They
see.
started licking them just to
see
make
what's
sure
going on?
that it was terrible tasting.
Unbelievable.
There's so many memes out there right now just based off of that, and it's wonderful.
Oh, I'm sure because the internet has a personality all of its own, and will have a comment on anything.
The internet if the internet was a person, I have a feeling I would either we would get along terribly, awfully well, and like
Terribly, awfully
we'd
well?
Yes.
we'd get along so well. Well, we'd get along well, but it'd be a terrible relationship as a friendship.
Well, isn't our current president is basically an internet comment section come to life?
He's
Yes.
Yes.
This
Basically.
is truth.
This is internet comments.
Saturday Night Live is terrible.
Anyway,
So bad.
that's a podcast for another day right there. That's 2 hours right there.
At least.
All right. So what are we missing? What have we not? We've talked about phones. We talked about consoles. We talked about PC. We talked about a whole variety of things. What are we missing so far? Are we missing anything?
The
What about
disappearance of
the
arcades.
stand-up arcade
The disappearance.
games?
Okay.
Yeah, with the console came the disappearance of arcades. People
Like,
don't like
you
going
see them,
out.
You see them at movie theaters still to have them, and truck stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the only two
And the
places.
Strong National Museum of Play.
Yes.
Oh, that arcade is amazing.
Because that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
the Strong Museum of Play.
I get to play Rampart again at the
Yes.
Strong
Galaga.
Museum of Play.
That's actually really fun. If you
Oh.
come to FC3, you should definitely go check out the Strong Museum of Play's arcade section. It's
Uh-huh.
wonderful. It's they've got like all of the
those
big
classic
ones,
ones.
and they rotate them out because
They have a ton more.
at the Strong Museum of Play, there's like 2 floors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a floor above that, that's offices, and a floor above that, that's the lab where they work on preserving the integrity of every video game ever made.
And actually, that was the last time I played video games. When
Was that the Strong?
FC3
when
Ken Lashley was with us last year. His daughter was killing it on this Star Wars pod game where you sit in the pod.
Pod Racer.
Oh, that's
my
awesome.
God.
She was amazing, and I can't get through Pac-Man.
I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah.
The Strong Museum had a Pac-Man. It was a 4-player Pac-Man.
Okay.
And so, like, you can get up to 3 other players playing at the same time, and you can, I think, take each other out.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have
You know,
like 3 players playing as the ghosts.
Sal's Birdland in town still has a Mortal Kombat and a Pac-Man
Mortal
right there that you can play while you're waiting for your food.
Campy's has Miss Pac-Man, the steak sandwich shop on
Scottsdale.
Scottsville.
My Boy Scout troop
Thanks,
has
I'm
a
Me
Galaga console in the basement, and that was one of the big selling points when I was going to troop to look for a troop to join.
And were you successful in that endeavor?
Yes, I did join that troop because they had a pinball machine and they had a Galaga machine.
There you
Now,
go.
They
I
recently
must-
got rid of the Galaga machine because it broke.
But you still got your merit badge in video game.
Yes, I got
Yes.
my. There is actually
There probably is a merit badge.
there's
for that.
actually a computers one, and we did talk about that video games in the computers
Being a
merit
part of
badge.
it. Too funny.
Yeah.
No, it's just like I try to get video gaming in at least once a week when we go to Dave & Buster's.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, Dave and Buster's.
Once a week. See, this is why I have all the stuff on my computer at home.
I just got
Well,
on spring break. I'm going to catch up on many games that I've been missing.
He's going to
in the
save
past.
all the worlds he's been ignoring for
Yes.
the last 6 months.
Time to bring
Across
out
the
that.
multiverse, Tony
Yes.
will be a hero.
Well,
Of
I mean,
course.
I can't
Plus, I
get
need-
to our big computer because the 8-year-old's on it, so I don't have. I
He's
don't
an
have,
8-year-old. Kick him out.
I have to lock myself in my room so I can replay the entirety of
Oh,
Mass
sure.
Effect.
That's why you're locking
that's it.
yourself in.
Honey, where's the lotion?
Really?
I didn't go there.
I can't believe you just went there.
Wait. You've known me for how long?
I know, but
You've
still,
known me
this
for
is
how
supposed
long?
to be a family-friendly
You've known me
conversation.
for
Yeah,
how
I'm not
no,
going
long?
there.
you should have heard the conversation
I
last
don't
night
want
at
to.
dinner.
Oh, God, last
He
night.
has very dry skin.
Yes.
That's
Guys, just
Video
don't go into the
gaming.
comment
Moisturize.
section.
Moisturize me. Anyway,
The
That-
comment
that's a
section has
Doctor
already
Who
made
thing.
this an R-rated.
yeah. No, it's... come on. You guys have been around me
I
long
know.
enough. You should not actually be surprised at the things that I say.
So am I have to like bring you a Wii?
You don't have to bring me anything. I appreciate everything. You don't have to bring me anything.
I think we've got some Nintendo
I-
DSs in there that you could.
You know what,
but
Billy?
the screens are
I
awfully
feel like
small.
you would like one of the Mario Kart racing games.
I'm
those
sure.
are fun.
I'm sure I'd like
I like
everything.
those with the
but
steering wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
like
Mario
with the
Kart.
steering wheel, and
Those are so much fun.
yeah.
We
I feel
yeah.
like you would like that, Billy.
I probably would.
We have all the different genres of the video games and consoles in our house because with just a wide variety. Yeah.
Variety.
Right.
Variety.
Wide variety, I tell you. It's a little
A wide
Shut up,
variety.
Christopher.
It's a new slang for wide variety. We're just going to call it Vide.
Where we have the shooter games, we have the Mario games, we have the Mario Kart games, we have all the Tiger Woods
Woods, y'all.
games. And can I tell you how difficult it was to unlock the Tiger Wood games?
Really?
Yes, because you have to go through this whole thing of
Perkins waitresses and
chipping.
porn actresses and
Random
I
9-irons
was
being swung
saying,
at your head.
chipping and putting in order to
Tony's
actually
bedroom.
unlock the game. Man.
That's locked. That's an achievement that's locked, apparently.
Oh, okay. But
All
then
right.
we have like the Madden games.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Lego games. Like
Oh,
the
wow.
Lego
Yeah.
Star
Yeah.
Wars
Oh,
games,
yeah.
and you're like sitting there building all the things.
All right,
and-
so we're gonna start wrapping it up. I want to ask a question of everybody here, and then we'll start getting towards closing up. So I'm gonna and Billy, what's your favorite computer console arcade game of all time?
Oh, let's come here. Some version of it. It'd have to go back to like the original Nintendo. What did I? Oh, actually, no. Centipede on the Atari
Centipede on the-
2600.
The classic.
Just the
Did you have the ball controller that
trackball,
the
yeah,
trackball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Billy, have you ever
Nice.
played it on YouTube?
No.
You can play it on YouTube.
Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Snake.
Oh,
Okay.
Snake.
Yeah, never mind. My bad.
Because even over at the Strong Museum, once I found Centipede, I was just, okay,
Susan
this is
knew
where I'm
where
going to
Billy
be.
was.
This is it.
I'm going
yes.
to play Centipede.
I'm home now.
I still stink at it, but I'm playing it.
There you go.
Are you having fun?
Yes.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
And actually,
with
on the
gaming.
Nintendo, there was a Star Trek game that I used to like. There was a where you beam down to the planet.
Yep.
And
They have an MMO for that now, Star
Yeah.
Trek
Yeah.
Online.
Yeah,
And
that
you
was
can,
fun.
you can
Because
build
I
your
was a
ship.
Star
and-
Trek
I used
fan.
to,
Do your thing.
I got to Vice Admiral on that. That was fun.
Me too.
I
Yep,
think
that's
there's
good
an
stuff.
Atari Classics for the Sega that happened to have like the Centipede and the Dig Dug and all that type of stuff
sure.
on there. Yeah, I think we might. I think they had one from the Nintendo also.
How about you, Sybil? Your favorite game of all time?
Favorite game of all time that I still play on a regular basis because it's on like everything is Sims.
The Sims?
The Sims.
Okay.
All different types of games with The Sims, all different
Okay,
expansions
I have a
and
question
everything.
for you.
Did you do
Yes.
Sim
What
Simpson?
is the most horrible way you killed your Sims?
I took out I left them in the house, got rid of the fridge and the bathroom, and then I got rid of all the windows and doors so that they were locked in the house, and they just walked in circles until they started, pooping themselves, and then they died of starvation.
Oh, man.
And that is why Sim players are the funniest people.
Yes, they
It is
are.
true.
They are some twisted folks.
Oh, yes.
All right, Tanya, how about you? Your favorite game of all time?
I've got a lot of favorite games. I want to say that it's probably the Final Fantasy games for the DS.
Okay.
Because it's like that role playing.
Yeah.
Type
Yeah.
game.
Oh, I love the Final Fantasy games. I remember playing Final Fantasy 2 way back in the day.
Between that and like Diablo.
Diablo's cool. I haven't played any
Diablo's good.
Diablos in ages.
It's like the Diablo, the Sacred. We had a game called Divine Divinity, but then we got to a certain point and it like locked up
Okay.
on us, so there's definitely a glitch. So, but that was like some PC gaming, but now they've got like a Sacred one for the Xbox
Okay.
360. So, do a lot of
Anthony.
Whew.
Anthony.
That's a hard question there, Chris.
Give us some love, Anthony.
Let's see. There's if I'm playing with friends, I'll go for Left 4 Dead 2. You can actually watch us play it online. There's
do you Twitch or anything like that? or-
no. My buddy John has a YouTube channel, JMan37X, and he's posted a bunch of us playing Left 4 Dead on there.
Which is a thing where people get to watch other people playing computer
Play-
games, which
yes.
is like an evolution
Yes.
of standing over the guy's shoulder at the arcade.
Oh yeah,
My
As-
8-year-old with the Minecraft videos.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah. But my overall favorite game of all time is a toss-up between three: the Mass Effect franchise, the Portal franchise, or the Chrono Trigger singular game.
Okay. Those sound like a lot of fun.
Portal is a lot of fun.
Portal is fun.
Portal is
And
fun.
Christopher.
I mean, Christopher, for me, I will always talk about my love for World of Warcraft. I've paused and stopped playing once in a while. I've canceled my subscription and come back, but I've been playing. But that's my number 2 game. My number 1 favorite computer game of all time was the original X-Wing game, where on the PC, and I had a joystick attached to my PC and everything, and you are an X-Wing pilot or a Y-Wing pilot, in the original game, and you go through Star Wars missions right up to and including the Death Star run, where you're the guy in the trench. And I loved it. The original
Why
one.
they stop firing?
Yeah, I love the original as opposed to the successors. And the successors were all good, but they became the map tightened up a lot more, where you could wander off and go do things with the original X-Wing game. You could go off and drag fighters and cruisers off from the main fight and kind of pick them apart as you see fit. It was a lot tighter in these successive games. So the first one you had a little bit more freewheeling to play around and whatnot. Just had it's just a ton of fun watching that one unfold and developing your skills and becoming better at it. And
I've heard Star Wars Battlefront, at least the second one, was working on the second one had stuff like that, and the new one, since it's under a new production company, is working to have similar stuff to that.
That would be cool. I'd be all in on that. I'd be all in on that because I remember just as important as the processor and the RAM and the video card was the joystick that I needed. That when I was building my computer, I needed to have the good stick because I'm playing my X-Wing games and I need to be able to fly, and it's very important. So that's World of Warcraft and X-Wing are my 2 favorites. We good?
Games
That's
are
it.
We're good.
awesome.
We good. Basically for our listeners out there, share with us your memories. Share with us the arcade games, the console games, because we've scratched the surface. There's
Give us
so much
something to
out there.
check
Give us
out.
something to do.
Yes.
Oh,
And there's
just
so
as
much
a
out
heads
there.
Up,
And a heads up.
please don't take my comments too seriously. I know that a lot of them could be viewed as divisive, and some of the information might not have been as accurate as.
Don't
I'd
worry,
like.
Tony. We never take you seriously.
No, thank
It's
you.
all good.
Never.
And
So
our OutQ music, in case you're wondering what you're hearing, greatest video game music performed by the London Philharmonic
That's
Orchestra.
awesome.
That is
Nice.
awesome.
That is awesome.
This is Super Mario music.
And we can say that
Yeah.
we actually have a band playing on Saturday that specifically does like video game type music.
That's Glitch.
Glitch.
Glitch will be at the Flower City
From,
Comic Con.
I believe, don't quote me on the times, but I think from noon to 5.
Do
Okay.
they do chiptune, or do they or is it like normal?
It's a band.
Okay.
Yeah. So that has been Monkey Business. And
I love this.
this is awesome.
Super Mario music is
Yeah.
performed by the London Philharmonic Orchestra.
Presenters of the Flower City Comic Con coming at you May 20th and 21st, 2017 at the Floriano, Rochester, Riverside Convention Center. Like us on Facebook, please. Dear God, like us on Facebook.
We're hoping to get
Facebook.com/
at least 3,000 likes.
FC3ROC. We're on our way. We're up to almost
Yes.
2,200. We'd love to get to 3,000 soon. So, gang, that's it for another week. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Excelsior!